Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. I am Sushil. Please enable the rename option. It's my mom's name.
Just good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning,
sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay. So this is your next lesson. Next chapter is living world. Okay. Living world. Just a minute. Hmm.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay. Okay. So next is living world. So actually, we will discuss in living world the taxonomy, classification, nomenclature, some hierarchy also in classification, then system of classification and kingdoms. Okay, kingdoms also. Fine. Here, there are some characteristic of living beings. Okay, there are some characteristics of living being. Fine. So these characteristics like growth, reproduction, metabolism, sensitivity. So these are some characteristics, okay, of living beings, but not only living beings, but the non-living also show these characteristics. So I will define all these characteristics one by one.
Sir,
Okay.
for this we have separate sheet, sir.
Yes, yes, you have that separate sheet. Didn't you get?
No, sir, we did not get it.
Are the living world, it is a separate reso sheet. Okay. I will have to contact the office now first. No issue. Just make the notes. They will provide you in coming weeks because maybe they have no this sheet from the quota. Okay, maybe they didn't receive. Let me check that one. Huh? Okay. Living world. What is this? Just a minute. Huh?
Sir, is this IP topic or Reso topic only, sir?
No, it is a reso topic. It is also in IP, I think. My styler is not working. Just a minute.
So will you be teaching both plant kingdom and animal kingdom or only plant kingdom?
No, only plant kingdom. Animal kingdom, it is in zoology, no? Zoology part. So zoology teacher will teach you phylums, means animal kingdom first and second. No? My styler is not working. Oh.
So this
I
topic,
charged
does it
that
come
like
under
last night.
plant kingdom, sir?
Huh?
This topic, does it come under plant kingdom, sir?
No, this is separate. This is a completely separate topic. Just a minute. Oh, my iPad pencil, my styler is not working. Just a minute. Okay. Actually, not in there. Okay. So, living world. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Are- Can you hear me? Hello. Okay, fine. The screen, just a minute. Huh? Hmm. So here, the living world, no? Hmm. Living world. So in living, actually the living, what is the living? Okay. It means some characteristics exist by the organisms. So they are called living organisms. Okay. Some characteristics like growth, sensible to environment, uh, reproduction, okay, metabolism. So these are some characteristics of living beings. Okay. So here some characteristic are existed by living organisms. Can you hear me?
Hello. So, botany, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, sir. We can hear
Yeah.
you, sir.
But Prabhakar is the host. Prabhakar, assign me host. Prabhakar, can you hear me?
You are
Okay,
the
great.
host
Thank
now.
you. Thank you. Just a minute, huh? Yes. So here, living world. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh. Mhm. So some characteristics which are exhibited by organisms, they are living organisms. Suppose growth is the characteristic. One characteristic is growth. Okay. Growth means what? Increase in number. Okay. Or increase in volume, increase in mass. That is called growth. So growth doesn't mean that only the number will be increasing. Okay. It is possible that one cell increases its volume, or the shape is assumed by the cell. So that is called growth also. So growth means increase in number and increase in mass of the cell or mass of the organism. That is called growth. Okay. So uh, it is increase in number and increase in mass of the individuals. Okay, that is called growth. In unicellular organism, the growth occurs in mass and the number. Increase in number is also called growth. Not only the volume increases, but if number increases, multiplication occurs. Okay. So in unicellular organisms like prokaryote, eukaryote, they show growth as well as reproduction by their multiplication. Okay. But the multicellular organisms, they show the growth only by their cell division. So cell division occurs, the size of the body increases. Okay, so multicellular organisms show in multicellular organisms, growth occurs by cell division. Okay, now multicellular means both plants and animals. So in animals, the growth, it is determinate. Determinate means after a certain age, the growth is stopped. Okay, growth is stopped mostly.
Sir, can you scroll a bit up?
Uh-huh. This is the starting, huh? In the animals, in the animals, growth is determinate growth. Is determinate growth. It is determinate. What does it mean? Determinate means it is the growth occurs only up to a certain level, certain age level. Okay. After that age, the growth is stopped. So that is called determinate growth. Determinate growth means growth occurs at certain level of the age, and then it is stopped. So in animals, generally it occurs. But yes, however, the means some cells, they are called stem cells or totipotent cells. They are available for repairing. Okay, so repairing occurs. That is cell division. This is repairing. It is not growth actually. Fine. So determinate growth occurs. It means in the animals, growth occurs up to a certain age. Fine. So that is called determinate growth. The second point is indeterminate growth. That is in plants. So in plants, indeterminate growth occurs means the root tip and shoot tip continuously grow by their multiplication. Small means slow growth occurs continuously. Okay, in case of plants. So in plants, growth is indeterminate. Growth is indeterminate. What does it mean? It means cell division continuously occurs throughout
the life.
lifespan. Yes, throughout the life. Cell division occurs continuously throughout the life. Okay, that is indeterminate. So slow growth, but yes, it occurs continuously at the root tip and shoot tip. They grow continuous. Okay, so that is called indeterminate growth. And unicellular organisms. One more, unicellular organism. This is multicellular. Huh? Now unicellular organisms that divide, they grow by multiplication. They grow by division. Okay, like bacteria or amoeba, they are unicellular. Even prokaryote, you get both. They show growth by their cell division. So their multiplication is considered as growth. Fine. So in unicellular organisms, show growth by multiplication or by cell division. By cell division. Okay, means they increase the number of the population. They increase the number in the species. Okay. Here, increase in size is also considered as growth. Okay, This is characteristic of living being, but the problem is that non-living objects, non-living substances, they also show uh, increase in mass. Okay, so it is considered as growth. Fine. So body mass also increases, like boulders, like sand. Okay, mountains. Fine. Size of rock. Fine. So these are, they also increase in size, they also increase in mass because of deposition of materials, accumulation of material on the surface. It is possible now. So they also show growth. Mountains show growth, the boulders they show growth, sand they show growth, more sand deposited on the layer. So that is growth also. So growth is not a defining property of living organisms only, because it can be shown by non-living also. Okay, so because of this, it is a property of living beings, but it is not defining property of living beings. Is it clear? So here unicellular organisms, they show growth by their cell division, and on other hand, the living beings, non-living beings, non-living objects, not living beings, non-living objects, they also show this growth. Okay, so uh, increase in size is considered as growth. Okay, but non-living beings, non-living objects also show increase in mass, increase in body mass, increase in body mass. This growth occurs by deposition of materials, deposition of materials on the surface of non-living objects, non-living objects. Examples: uh, sand, mountains, okay, and size of the rock or rocks. These are different materials, non-living objects, and they show growth also. No? So increase in mass is also called growth. Increase in mass, that is also a type of growth, not only increase in number. So it is not a defining property of all living organisms, because this growth is also shown by non-livings. Okay. So this is not defining property. Just a minute, huh? The growth is shown by living as well as non-living. Therefore, growth is not a defining property of living organism. It is not a defining property. Okay. The next is next characteristic of living being is, okay, this is first growth, then second is reproduction. Okay.
So can you scroll up, sir?
Hmm.
Sir, once can you show from the first page?
Hello.
Sir, once can you show from the first page?
Just a minute. Is it completed?
Yes, sir.
This is first page. Okay, done.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Next is a reproduction. Reproduction, this is means this is the ability of an organisms to form same copy, okay, in progeny. So mostly unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms, especially multicellular, because unicellular organisms, they divide, so they show growth also, okay, not only reproduction. But in unicellular case, the organisms like bacteria or other unicellular protistans or maybe amoeba like this unicellular, they show reproduction as well as growth by increase their number. Okay, so here increase in number, it means it is growth as well as reproduction both. Okay, but in multicellular organisms, the division, that is growth, and the reproduction is a special phenomenon, that is a different thing. Okay, they form gametes, or asexually they form spores, they form buds. Fine. Regeneration also considered as reproduction here. So it means reproduction, it is a different phenomena in unicellular and multicellular. Okay, in unicellular it is just increase the number, just cell division, that is reproduction. But in multicellular, it is a complete different systematic phenomena. So mostly it is shown by multicellular organisms. And in unicellular, only the cell division is considered as reproduction. Multicellular organisms, multicellular organisms have ability to produce progeny which is similar to parents. Okay. These organisms reproduce by asexual and sexual. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Fungi and lower organisms reproduce by spores, by budding, and fragmentation. By budding and fragmentation. Okay. So these are means types of asexual reproduction.
Sir, can you scroll up, sir? Only reproduction parts.
Okay. Unicellular organisms also divide, but before this, we have to complete multicellular. Okay. So this is asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction includes development of gametes, formation of gametes, and their fusion. Involves formation of gametes and their
Sir, an example for lower organisms.
low organisms means fungi, unicellular mein amoeba, okay,
Okay.
or
Protozoa
planaria.
also is being
Planaria.
considered.
These are lower, na? Lower
Okay.
organisms. Fungi hoga, protistans, yeast, hydra, planaria. Just a minute. I'm adding here. The organisms reproduced by sexually and sexually fungi. Okay, fungi and lower organisms. No? So here, these are, suppose yeast. Yeast is already fungi. So yeast, hydra, planaria. These are lower organisms. Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next, sexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction occurs by fusion of gametes. So gamete formation and their fusion to form zygote. To form zygote. Okay, that is sexual reproduction. In unicellular organisms, the division, it is considered as growth and reproduction both. Okay, like bacteria or other unicellular algae or amoeba. So increase in number means growth as well as reproduction both. In unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction both cell division only. Okay. So generally, a reproduction, it is considered as living property. It is a characteristic of living beings. It is a characteristic of living beings. But the problem is, many organisms, they are living, but they do not reproduce. They cannot reproduce. Okay. Examples are mules. Mules are there. Okay. Mules, liger, sterile worker bees, okay, infertile human also, sterile human. So they cannot reproduce. So here it is not the defining property. Reproduction, it is not a defining property. It is not a peculiar characteristic of living being. Okay. So this is a characteristic of living being, but not all living beings show this characteristic. Like mule, sterile worker bees, sterile human also, liger. So these are some examples of these are living beings, but they do not reproduce. Okay. So the final point is, reproduction is not a defining property of living beings. Many living beings organisms do not show reproduction. Means they do not produce. Okay. For example, sterile human, worker honeybee, and mule. Okay.
What is mule,
So
sir?
these are mule. It is a sterile hybrid actually between
It is offspring of
donkey and horse.
donkey and horse, no, sir?
Yes, yes, donkey
Sir,
and
is it
horse.
really possible, sir? Like two different species, no, sir?
That is why it is sterile, no? That is why it is sterile.
So it can't further
Means
reproduce, sir.
in the same family, the genus may be possible. They can reproduce. Okay, but the hybrid will be sterile. Similarly, liger is there.
Lion and tiger.
Liger. It is not tiger. It is the combination of lion and tiger. So it is called liger. Just a minute, huh? This is liger. So it is the hybridization between tiger and lion. So it is called liger. It is again sterile. So these are sterile organisms. So they do not show reproduction. No? So it is not a defining property of living beings. Worker honeybee. Female honeybee is of two types. No? worker and queen. So queen is fertile. Okay, it lays the eggs. But worker honeybee, okay, worker honeybee, they cannot reproduce. Okay, they cannot lay the eggs. So these are sterile. Again, sterile human, it is possible because of less development of sex organs. So it is sterile human. Okay. Right. So it is not it is not a defining property of living being. Next is metabolism. What is metabolism? Metabolism means different chemicals, they interact with each other. Okay, and they change into another molecules. Maybe another biomolecules are formed. So these chemicals means smaller molecules or large molecules, they continuously they are changing, okay, into different other molecules by the chemical reactions. That is called metabolism. Here anabolism and catabolism are involved.
Without reproducing, how they continue their generations then?
No continuation of generation. Sterile is the last generation. This is sterile mule. This is sterile mule or liger. They are, or sterile human also. They have no their generations. Okay, worker honeybee. Here worker honeybee, they have no their generation, but the uh, for continuing this generation, the queen is available here. So queen lays the egg. Male are called drones. Okay, so these drones, they reproduce with the queen honeybee. Fine, and then the eggs are fertilized. So they maintain their generation. But sterile mule, liger, sterile human, they cannot means they cannot continue their generation. Okay.
Sir,
Sir,
sir, are sterile and infertile different or the same, sir?
No, same. Sterile means infertile, no? Infertile. The bare soil, okay, it means infertile soil. Sterile or infertile, it is same. Fertile means which can reproduce. Okay, that is fertile. Sterile means cannot reproduce. So it is infertile. Okay.
sir,
Next
here
is
mule means I don't understand.
mule is the sterile hybrid actually. It is hybrid between it is the result of cross between male donkey and female horse. Okay. So hybridization is successful. Actually, what happens? Generally, there are some restrictions. Okay. So these restrictions or these adaptations are there between the means in the species also. So they cannot reproduce with other species. Fine, in general. So there are so many different restrictions are there. Like physiological, physical, geographical, different types of barriers are there. Okay, so it is the last point here in this barrier wala point is there actually. So the barriers are like the sperm of one species cannot fertilize with the ovum of the other species. Okay, this is one another type of barrier. It is called incompatibility. So incompatibility is there because chemical reaction is required for this fertilization. Recognition is also important, but the ovum cannot recognize that particular sperm. So it is called incompatibility. Self incompatibility is there. Fine. Similarly here, if the suppose compatibility is there, or suppose the chemical reaction occurs. Okay, so sperm fertilize the egg. Fine. So hybrid is formed. Hybrid is formed there. Hybridization occurs. So this is the last stage. Hybridization occurs and finally hybrid is formed. So again, there is a barrier that sterile is developed, but it cannot continue its generation. It cannot reproduce. This is another barrier. Okay. First of all, the embryo will die. First of all, suppose it survive, then the sterile will come. Sterile is developed from that embryo. Okay. So this is the last stage of that barrier. So finally, sterile is formed like mule or liger. So these are means they survive in the environment, but they cannot reproduce. This is the last barrier. Okay, there are so many different barriers between the species. Fine. Okay. Next is metabolism. Metabolism. So metabolism means interaction of different chemicals in the body. Okay, these chemical reactions occur and different metabolites or biomolecules are formed. Different types of metabolic reactions occur simultaneously. Even in unicellular, multicellular, both show this metabolism. Plants, fungi, prokaryotes all show metabolism. But in non-living objects, the metabolism doesn't occur. What is metabolism? Here, in the body of all living organisms, different chemicals are present. Chemicals are found. Different chemicals are available. Okay. The interaction occurs between these chemicals to form other biomolecules. Okay. This interaction may be catabolic or anabolic. Catabolic, anabolic, both reactions occur. All catabolic and anabolic reactions anabolic catabolic reactions collectively called
Sir, sir, here catabolic and anabolic reaction means?
catabolic means destruction, breakdown. Okay, like respiration occurs, but now respiration is considered as amphibolic. It is not pure catabolic, but just you can say yes, respiration is catabolic. Like glucose ka breakdown of glucose, it occurs during respiration. Okay, into the CO2 and H2O. Raw materials are formed, you can say. Inorganic material are formed. Okay, from the large molecule, breakdown of large molecule, simpler or smaller molecules are formed. This is breakdown. Okay, so that is called destruction. You can say destruction. The breakdown is the destructive process. Okay, so respiration is destructive. That is called catabolic reaction. On other hand, in photosynthesis, this CO2 and H2O, they are combined to form glucose, means reverse reaction, you can say. Right? So the raw materials, smaller one, they combine to form a complex molecule. It is construction. It is constructive process, no? Production, synthesis. That is called anabolic. So catabolic reaction, anabolic, both simultaneously they occur in the living being continuously. Okay. So that both are called, means both are considered as metabolism. उसको हम मिलाकर बोलते हैं metabolism. Catabolic plus anabolic. That is metabolic. Clear? So collectively called metabolic or
Yes, sir.
just metabolic reaction. Metabolic reaction, and it is metabolism. Fine. All living beings show this metabolism. Either they are unicellular or multicellular, they are prokaryotic or eukaryotic, all living beings show metabolism. In non-living objects, metabolism doesn't occur. Metabolism is not possible. Okay. Non-living objects have no metabolism. They have no metabolism. But outside the living body, it is possible to demonstrate metabolic reaction. Okay, this is the point. So metabolic reaction is the defining property of living beings because it is not by non-living. But yes, it is possible that you can perform the reaction outside the body with the help of chemicals. Okay, in the test tube, in the laboratory, you can during experiment you can perform this experiment.
Sir, even if we want to do outside the body means we want living environments, right?
No, outside the body, so there is no requirement of living organism. Okay, outside the body means in test tube.
Living environment.
Given the environment.
Yes, sir.
Living. In that particular environment means suppose in the laboratory, so there is a restriction like temperature or humidity, but the reaction generally it occurs naturally inside the body. But outside the body, you can also demonstrate that reaction, the chemical reaction. So this chemical reaction generally occurs outside the body in test tube. Okay, we can perform that one. So here, this is called isolated metabolic reaction. Isolated means outside the body. Okay, so it is performed in test tube, and it is not in living or non-living. Okay, it is not inside the living body or not the non-living object. They show this reaction. It is completely different. Okay, but yes, it is only in living beings. So metabolism is a defining property of living beings. Fine. So I'm adding this point here. Metabolism is possible. It can be demonstrated. Metabolic reactions demonstrated outside the body. In a test tube. Okay. It is neither living nor non-living. Okay. Metabolism is metabolism in cellular organization, या फिर ऐसा लिखेंगे in the cell is a defining property of living beings. Defining property of living beings. Okay, metabolism. And the last one is consciousness. Okay, sensitivity. Fine. So sense to that surrounding or that environment. Response to the environmental stimulus. Okay, that is called consciousness. It is the ability, just a minute. Consciousness. Sorry. It is the ability of living organisms or living beings to sense and respond to their environment, to their environmental stimulus. Whatever the type of stimulus, like chemical or biological or physical. So the stimulus may be biological or physical, chemical, biological, physical. Okay. The organism responds to the environment or sense the environment through the sense organs. Through the sense organs, eyes, ears, skin, okay, nose. So through the sense organs, if we respond, if we sense the environment, if we sense the stimulus, that is consciousness. Okay. Plants, even plants also respond. okay, to the environmental conditions like temperature, presence or absence of water, light, pollutants. Fine. So they also respond. So they also have that consciousness. So plants also respond to the environmental conditions, to the environmental factors, abiotic factors, abiotic, biotic both. So environmental factors like temperature, water, light, humidity, and pollutants. Okay. So these are different factors to which the plant respond and they are sensible. Even the prokaryotic cells and unicellular organisms, not only multicellular organisms, but the unicellular eukaryotes and prokaryotes also, they are sensible, means they have that sense and they respond to the environmental conditions. Okay. Prokaryotes and unicellular eukaryotes also respond to the environmental factors. Okay. So consciousness is again one defining property. Okay.
Please show from consciousness.
From
Consciousness.
just a minute. Consciousness is a defining property in all living organisms. Okay, but the problem is that this is consciousness, huh? Okay. In case of
Yes,
human,
sir.
okay, in case of human, the problem creates when a patient is in coma. Okay, in that case, in the coma stage, the patient is completely conscious, means
Sir, your
unconscious.
voice is breaking.
Unconscious, sir.
Unconscious, yes. So they have no self-consciousness at that time. The person is living, but in coma stage. So it is called brain dead condition. Okay, the brain dead condition is there. So virtually supported by machines, and the patient is called brain dead. So this brain dead condition is there, but the organs are functioning. Okay, at that time. So that is a completely exceptional condition, you can say, in case of human, that it becomes unconscious. Okay, so the person is living but not showing consciousness. Fine, but generally it is a defining property. Okay, so I'm adding that point also
Excuse me,
because when
sir.
I ask this question here, huh?
How this consciousness could be, the stimulus could be chemically, biological, and physically
Consciousness
consciousness.
means sense. No, this is sense.
Yes,
You
sir.
smell something. You smell something. The smell means what? This is chemical. Okay, the chemical in the aroma. Okay, means these chemicals, they provide that aroma on that, to that substance, that object. No? So these are chemicals. Biological also, like other animals or the microorganisms. These are biological factors. Physical factor, touch, pressure. Okay, these are physical factors. Biologicals may virus, bacteria, microorganisms, animals, plants, they are involved. So we are sensible for them. No? Biological
Yes, sir.
factors. Different chemicals are there. So the taste means the tongue or the taste buds. Okay, they identify that particular taste because of that chemical present in the food material. Fine. So this is chemical sense, chemical response. Okay, so consciousness, it is it is defining property of all living beings, but in case of human, when the patient is in coma. Okay, so it is living but non self-conscious. Okay, or unconscious, you can say, because it is brain dead. So that is an exception, you can say. Fine. It is living being but unconscious. It is not showing consciousness. In case of a human, the patient in coma doesn't show consciousness. Okay, so it is living but doesn't show consciousness. Fine. In case of coma patient, otherwise the living beings, all living beings, all human, they can show consciousness. Fine. Okay, so this is one part. Next, next is taxonomy. Okay, taxonomy means what? Taxonomy, it means it is a sequential process. Okay, uh, like characterization. Okay, to assign some characters, some symptoms, you can say, to one organism. It is uh, either it is animal or plant. Okay, so characterization, their identification, and finally classification occurs. Okay, on the basis of characters, identify that organism and then classify them and finally assign the name. That is called nomenclature. So all these processes in a sequence, that is called taxonomy. Okay, means they form the base of the taxonomy. So taxonomy, it means it is the characterization, identification, classification, and then nomenclature of that particular organism which is discovered. That is called taxonomy. Fine. So in taxonomy, We assign the name, we classify the organism, we identify the organism, and we give some characteristics. Means we study the characteristics, not give. We study the characteristics. Okay, that is called taxonomy. Father of taxonomy is Carolus Linnaeus. The term was given by Epide Candolle. That's it. And then another term we use, systematic. So it is the type of taxonomy. Just a minute. Huh? First of all, taxonomy. Taxonomy. The term used by A.P. D. Candolle. It is not Andhra Pradesh. Huh? A.P. D. Candolle. I don't know the full form. A.P. D. Candolle. Okay. Next, father of taxonomy.
Sir, can you spell that scientist name, sir?
Candolle. C-N-D-O-L-L-E. D. Candolle or Candolle.
Fine, sir.
Father of taxonomy, Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus.
So can you explain taxonomy again?
Taxonomy, it means this is characterization of that particular organism, means a study of that characters, okay, of that organism, either it is plant or animal. So characterization, then finally identification, then classification. Okay, after identification, we can classify them in which genus or in which family, from which family they belong. So classification and then nomenclature occurs. After classification, we can assign the name that particular organism. Okay, so characterization, identification, classification, and finally nomenclature occurs, and these are the basis of taxonomy. Means this is
The reason
taxonomy.
why it is being termed as taxonomy.
Huh?
The reason
Taxonomy,
why,
it means
meaning of the
taxonomy.
word, sir.
Taxonomy, it means the classification, classification and characterization. That is called taxonomy. Taxonomy actually here different taxa are there. Taxa means what? Taxa means unit of classification. Okay, so I will define all these taxa after this taxonomy and systematic. So taxon means like, taxon means this is category only, like phylum. Okay, in animal kingdom you can see the largest group is kingdom. So kingdom is a taxa. Okay, then smaller than kingdom is phylum, subphylum, then class. Okay, class, then order, family, genus, species. Okay, these all are taxa. Fine. Each one is taxon, like kingdom, then phylum, or in case of plant kingdom, it is called division. Phylum is called division. Then class, order, family, genus, species. This is hierarchy of taxonomy. This is hierarchy of taxons, different taxa. So taxonomy, it means what? We study the classification of the organism. Okay, that is called taxonomy. And here, first of all, characterization occurs, then identification, then classification, and finally nomenclature. Okay, so it is called taxonomy. Taxonomy, it means this is a study of, it is the systematic study of organism, or you can say systematic classification of the organism. That is taxonomy. Fine. So the term was given by Epide Candolle, father of taxonomy, Carolus Linnaeus. And what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the systematic, sorry, it is the process in which all living beings can be classified. Okay, in different taxa. So they can be classified. And what is the base of taxonomy?
Species.
Characterization identification, then classification to assign that organism into particular taxa, that is classification. So classification
Nomen-
and nomenclature, yes. Are the basics of taxonomy. So taxonomy means, roughly you can say this is classification of organism. Okay, directly you can say taxonomy means classification. But before classification, characterization occurs, identification, then classification, and finally nomenclature. So all these are included in taxonomy. Okay. In taxonomy, generally we consider morphology, anatomy, and cytology. What is morphology? Means external features of the organism, external characteristics. Anatomy means internal structure of the body, internal structure of the organs. That is anatomy. And then cytology means structure of the cell, function of the cell, okay, function of the tissues also. So that is called cytology. Okay, these are the these are the characteristics included in taxonomy. In taxonomy, morphology, anatomy, cytology, and ecological information. Ecological information means in the ecosystem, the importance of that organisms or the role of the organisms in the ecosystem. Ecological information, informations are used in taxonomy. Morphology, anatomy, cytology, and ecological informations are the basis of study. are the basis of study. Okay, means these are included. Fine. That is called taxonomy. The next is systematic. Systematics is also taxonomy actually. The term was coined by Carolus Linnaeus itself, father of taxonomy. And what is systematic? Systematic, it is the actually study of diversity of organisms, biodiversity, or you can say diversity of organisms based on phylogenetic relationship. Okay, means morphology, cytology, anatomy, they are included, but in this study, phylogenetic relationship. Phylogenetic relationship means from which group the organism is coming. Okay, for example, just a minute, let me start systematic first, then we'll discuss. Okay. Next term is systematic. Okay, what is systematic?
Sir, can we scroll some up?
Huh. Just a minute. Before systematic, different types of taxonomy. Types of taxonomy. Okay, then go to systematic. So types of taxonomy may generally 2 or 3 taxonomy types. One is called chemotaxonomy or biochemical taxonomy. Biochemical taxonomy, it means if the study or the classification is based on study of biomolecules. Okay, study of biomolecules like protein, carbohydrates, lipids, other crystals, other chemicals present in the cell like DNA, RNA. Okay, so their nature, their function, their composition, that is called biochemical taxonomy. Fine. So first, that is biochemical taxonomy, and next is cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy, it means the cytological characteristics, types of cells, number of chromosomes, okay, cell structure, cell function, structure of chromosomes, number of chromosomes. If they are involved, then it is called cytotaxonomy. In the cytotaxonomy, a new branch is developed that is especially for nucleus. It is called karyotaxonomy. Means in karyotaxonomy, we will study the structure of nucleus. Only nucleus is included, suppose. So that is called karyotaxonomy. Okay. Complete cell is included. It is cytotaxonomy. Different types of chemicals are included. It is biochemical or chemotaxonomy. Clear? So these are some types of taxonomy. First, it is biochemical taxonomy.
Sir, so totally how many types of
Huh? Hello.
taxonomy?
Your voice is breaking.
Sir, how many types of taxonomies are there?
3 types. Cyto and karyotaxonomy is involved in cyto. Okay. But nowadays it is studied separately, karyotaxonomy. Otherwise, it is branch of cytotaxonomy. So we include in cytotaxonomy. Next is chemotaxonomy. Another is a numerical taxonomy. Okay, means numerical data is entered in computer. Okay, They enter the all data of species, number of species, population, and all that. That is numerical taxonomy. So first is biochemical or chemotaxonomy. It means it is based on study of chemicals and their interaction. Okay, that is called biochemical taxonomy. So different pigments or crystals, proteins, they are present in different plants and organisms. So that is called biochemical taxonomy. Second is cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy based on it is based on structure of cell, number and structure. Number and structure. Number and structure of chromosomes. Okay, that is called cytotaxonomy. Most advanced branch of cytotaxonomy is karyotaxonomy. Is karyotaxonomy, most advanced branch. In karyotaxonomy, structure of nucleus is studied. Okay, that is called karyotaxonomy. Is it completed?
No, sir.
Okay, types of taxonomy: cytotaxonomy, chemotaxonomy, karyotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy is structure of cell, number of chromosome, behavior of chromosome. Karyotaxonomy means nucleus, structure of nucleus, composition of nucleus, most advanced branch. Chemotaxonomy or biochemical taxonomy, that is study of chemicals like biomolecules, means metabolites like protein, carbohydrate, crystals, pigments, lipids, okay, DNA, RNA. So their chemical nature and their action, their interactions. So if this is the basis of classification, okay, this is basis of classification, then it is called chemotaxonomy. If the cell is basis of classification, it is cytotaxonomy. Okay. And the third one is it is Adansonian. Okay. Adansonian, because Adanson discovered this. It is numerical taxonomy. Numerical taxonomy. Developed by Adanson. It is called phonetics. Or Adansonian. Adansonian taxonomy. It is Adansonian or phonetics taxonomy or numerical taxonomy. In this taxonomy, actually, during classification, all characters, most of the characters are considered, and each character is given, it is assigned by a code. Okay, one code or one number is assigned to that particular character. Okay, and then all these data, character and data, all these character and data, they are filed, they are stored in a computer, or you can say statistical method. That is a statistical method. Mathematical type. This is a type of numerical statistical method. Okay, so most of the characters or many characters can be considered at same time. A number or number and code also. Is assigned to a character. All data are processed using statistical method. That is called Adansonian or numerical taxonomy. Okay, these are different types: cytotaxonomy, chemotaxonomy, and numerical taxonomy. Okay, Now taxonomic categories. Next is hierarchy of taxonomic category. So there are 7 different taxonomic categories are used in classification of organisms. So I will show you these all taxons or taxa. Is it completed?
1 minute.
Done, sir.
Okay. Taxonomic categories. Taxonomic categories, there are different categories are there. Okay, 7 categories actually. So these are 7 different categories. These are broad categories. They have their own types, but mainly 7 categories are there. Okay, and these are used in classification of the organism. Taxonomic categories are used in classification of the organism. Okay, of the organisms. These are 7 main categories. 7 main categories. These are called obligate or essential categories. Furtherly, they are divided into different categories. Each category, okay, among these 7 categories, each can be divided into different. Suppose kingdom is the obligate category. Okay, so it's another category means it can be divided into small kingdoms. They are called sub kingdom. Okay, so sub kingdom is the intermediate category. Similarly, you will see if a class is there. So class is actually essential or obligate or broad category. Okay, this is a obligate category, essential category. But class can be divided into smaller units like first of all super class, then subclass, infra class, like this. All are classes, but there's a division in class. Fine. Similarly, order like super order, sub order, infra order. Okay. So 7 are main and they can be divided. So the main category is called obligate category, broad category, or essential. Broad.
Sir, can you once show
or
numerical
essential.
taxonomy, please?
Just a minute. This is
Sir,
numerical taxonomy.
does taxonomy is similar to enzyme nomenclature or not?
Huh?
Sir, does taxonomy is similar to enzyme nomenclature or not?
Enzyme nomenclature? No. It is not related with enzyme.
What is
Enzyme
taxonomy?
nomenclature. Enzyme nomenclature is completely different thing. Na? Taxonomy means classification of organisms. This is
Phylum, class.
yes, kingdom,
Yes, sir.
phylum, class, order, genus, family.
Sir.
Okay. Yes, this is it is not related with enzyme. Okay. Taxonomic orders. So 7 are main orders, and essential order essential category. Essential categories can be divided into smaller categories. These are called intermediate categories. These are intermediate categories. For example, like superphylum, subphylum, superclass, subclass, infraclass, like this. These are examples. Now, what are the category? Category is also called taxon. Okay, the category is called taxon. Each category is called taxon. No, not category is called taxon. Sorry, this is wrong. Category means this is the rank. This is the rank particular. This is actually rank, you can say, category. Okay. And taxon deals with the living organisms. Okay. So here, suppose different categories are just used. Different categories are, first is kingdom, largest, then phylum or division in case of plant. It is called division. Phylum is divided into class. One class is divided into orders, means class having orders. Each order it may have families. So families or family is the smaller category. And family includes genus. And genus includes species. Okay, so this is descending hierarchy. Descending hierarchy means kingdom is the largest and species is the smallest category.
Sir, can you scroll up?
And species is smallest category. हाँ भाई. From where? Starting. Is it completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then different categories are in descending order. No? First of all, kingdom, then smaller is phylum, then class, then order, family, genus, species. So these, they show categories. And what is taxon? In taxonomy, we say it is taxon. So these are also taxon. Means kingdom is a category, but category means this is just a rank. Okay, kingdom is a rank. But the organisms present in this kingdom, now the kingdom is called taxon. So taxon और category में कोई बहुत ज़्यादा difference नहीं है. Okay. Bas taxon deals with the living organisms, whereas the category, it deals with the rank only. Okay, ये उसका rank है. So taxon आप कुछ भी ले सकते हो. Kingdom, phylum, they are all are taxon. So smallest taxa, smallest taxon, smallest category is species. Okay.
Sir, are we done with today's class?
So is it completed? Is it finished?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Finished.
fine.
Yes, sir.
So I'm done here. I'm closing the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.